All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I hope you're having a wonderful re:Invent so far. Before we get started, with a quick show of hands, how many of you are currently working on a cloud initiative? As expected, it's most of us in this room. I have a follow-up question. How many of you like to party? Yes, believe it or not, these two are actually connected. So, if you like the cloud and if you like to party, you have come to the right session. 96% of businesses today have at least one application in the public cloud. By 2025, 85% of businesses will become cloud first. That is 100 zettabytes of data. 1 zettabyte equals 1 trillion gigabytes. I had to look it up. Companies are moving to the cloud so they can innovate faster and drive business value faster. And the sooner they get there, the faster they start achieving these value. My name is Mainu Khalita. I'm the global head of AWS EBA program. Really excited to be here today to share with you a proven transformation methodology known as experience-based acceleration that's been adopted by hundreds of customers around the world to accelerate their cloud journey. In this session, you will gain insights on how to unlock the benefits of the cloud faster, and you will hear from our amazing customer here, Tasha Bain, Vice President at Aflac. She's going to share with us the story of how Aflac built a cloud-fluent culture to speed up their migration. Moving to the cloud unlocks key business value. Companies are moving to the cloud to drive innovation. In the cloud, you can innovate quickly and launch new features, which increases speed and agility and reduces time to market by 43%. There is power in data. In the cloud, you can make data-driven decisions, which can unlock new revenue streams and can contribute up to 11.2% year-over-year growth. In the cloud, you can rapidly scale your business to the changing demands of your customers, which increases customer satisfaction by 18%. By moving to the cloud, you can achieve up to a 40% reduction in the total cost of ownership. Sustainability is becoming a key driver for companies to move to the cloud. By moving your business to the cloud, you can improve your carbon emissions by 84% and reduce your energy consumption by 65%, which is a significant improvement. In the cloud, you can build your business to be more secure, robust, and compliant. 6 out of 10 customer executives say that they are able to run a more secure business in the cloud because of the availability of different tooling and automation and tighter governance that the cloud provides. By moving to the cloud, you can make your business more stable and reliable. Cloud offers benefits such as faster recovery time, more tools, more options to support resiliency such as disaster recovery and pivoting to a brand new business model quickly. Now, in order to achieve these values faster, you need to continue to build the cloud momentum and continue to drive that. For an organization moving to the cloud, 70% of friction points are not technical. These are actually centered around people, process, and change. It's human nature. We're not always a big fan of change. Enterprise transformation isn't just about technology. It's about bringing your people along on this journey. It's about building a mindset and shifting the mindset of an entire organization to become a cloud-fluent culture. For any customer who's going through the cloud journey, there are some common challenges that emerge. The first one is building the cloud-fluent culture, because this takes intentional effort and time. It just doesn't happen overnight. You have to ingrain a culture of agility, of innovation, with empowered teams. You have to increase your risk appetite and overcome fear of the unknown and analysis paralysis. It is very important to get some initial wins quickly so you can continue to drive the momentum and build towards that culture. 45% customers say that a lack of top-down visible leadership engagement and stakeholder engagement is the #1 barrier to cloud acceleration. Oftentimes, there's alignment at the top about the cloud prioritization and goals, but the vision doesn't always cascade through every tier of the organization. 35% customers stated that siloed org structure is impacting their ability to drive cloud value today. When you have silos within the teams, it slows down decision-making and it impedes progress. 4 out of 10 companies say that lack of cloud skills is impacting their cloud operations today. So, experiential learning is powerful. Learn by doing model is very effective in boosting the confidence of your teams and to allow them to innovate, to build solutions faster in the cloud. The teams that are working on a cloud initiative usually have a day job, don't we? And the cloud initiative ends up becoming an additional lift on these teams. According to a survey, only 2.5% human beings can effectively multitask. When teams are expected to work on competing priorities, it drastically reduces productivity and efficiency, and it can even cause fatigue and saturation for your teams. Another challenge is the legacy operating model that is stuck in a quagmire of legacy processes, methodologies, and technologies. Overcoming this requires business and IT to take a step back and think about their cloud operations holistically. Most businesses today still operate on a manual intervention-driven based operating model, such as submitting tickets to make updates, which significantly slows down progress and reduces and impacts your time to market. With a quick show of hands, do any of these challenges resonate with you? What if I told you that you can overcome some of these challenges very quickly while making it fun and exciting for your team? Yes, making it a party. There is no compression algorithm for experience. Welcome to EBA.
Moving to the cloud requires new ways of working. Enter experience-based acceleration, a transformation methodology that provides a step-by-step guide to break down silos, use AWS, and operate in the cloud. EBA puts knowledge into action in your environment with your people to achieve tangible business outcomes that result in deep insights. And you're not in it alone. EBA incorporates hands-on support with AWS experts to address blockers and empower your teams to deliver end-to-end solutions. There's no compression algorithm for experience. Get started with EBA and accelerate your AWS journey today.
EBA is a transformation methodology using hands-on, agile, immersive approach to build capability and accelerate your target outcomes. As a leader, you can create organizational capability quickly by breaking down silos, addressing leadership-level blockers, and building self-sustainable working models to continue the momentum. As a manager, you can accelerate delivery of results by addressing adoption inhibitors. You can align all the right stakeholders to fast-track the decision-making process, and you can empower your teams to transition from planning to action. EBA delivers results quickly by creating an environment of cross-pollination of learnings. As a builder, you are empowered to build end-to-end solutions, to innovate faster in a highly collaborative, cross-functional approach. As a builder, you are empowered to simplify processes and challenge the status quo. And you actually get to do what you enjoy doing, building end-to-end solutions without the distractions and competing priorities in an EBA. And all of these business values are derived in a highly cross-functional and collaborative engagement that culminates in a 3-day party where everyone comes together to build a target capability Imagine an event where all of your teams are in a room, you're trying to build something together, it's gamified, it's exciting. We also celebrate successes along the way and inspire each other. EBA helps in every stage of your cloud journey, whether you're just starting your cloud journey by migrating the first few apps to the cloud, or whether you're innovating in the cloud with generative AI. There is something for everyone. In a platform party, you accelerate platform readiness and cloud foundations for a seamless migration. It's like training for a marathon, right? You want to build the right foundations, you want to build that muscle first, and that is exactly what we are doing here. We are going to stress test and validate your landing zone. We'll migrate a few apps and test out the entire process to identify the gaps. And in the platform party, you also start building the foundation for your future cloud operating model and implementing security and compliance requirements. In a migration party, you develop repeatable patterns for scale. You're going to remove critical blockers in real time. You're going to drive process efficiencies with automation. And this is not usually one and done. Many customers like Aflac plan for multiple EBAs so they can continue to drive that momentum, and they get better with every EBA, and you're going to hear that story here in a second. In a modernization EBA, you will leverage prescriptive modernization pathways to transform your applications to future and modern architecture in AWS. The scope of the work can span from refactoring monolithic applications into cloud-native microservices, or replatforming into fully managed containers or advanced analytics solutions. This will create new opportunities to innovate and modernize your business. According to a study from 2022, 7 out of 10 customers do not have complete visibility into their cloud spend today. Also, the larger the company, the bigger the cost variability problem. Our FinOps offering allows enterprises with a step-by-step guide to manage and optimize the cloud spend and usage at each and every stage of your cloud journey by giving you the tools and the automation to run your operations at scale. In an innovation EBA, we empower our enterprises and customers to deliver innovation with increased agility by building machine learning models and generative AI capability to address your important business use cases. And we're not just talking about proof of concept. We're talking about taking these use cases to production so you can start reaping the benefits of the cloud faster. You get to work alongside AWS experts on the latest and greatest cutting-edge technology. Isn't that exciting? And the best part is, you don't have to choose just one of these business outcomes. You can combine aspects of these to make your EBA more impactful. At the end of the day, our goal is to make your cloud journey successful. On your EBA journey, all the magic happens in 3 stages that span 3 to 6 weeks. In the first stage, we assess your cloud landscape and we start scoping for your EBA. And we recommend that you take some stretch goals here. If you're migrating 5 apps to the cloud in a migration party, have some modernization and automation stretch goals. You would be surprised how quickly teams are able to achieve these milestones during an EBA. In this phase, you will define the success criteria with measurable metrics, and you will define the target capability that you're trying to build through this process. Then you move on into the planning phase. This is where we formalize all the work streams. Each work stream will represent a key business value that you're trying to drive. It will comprise of your team members, AWS experts, and even partners where applicable. This is where we will be completing all the technical prerequisites and tasks in preparation for the party. And also, the party logistics, like the swag, the theme, the cowbell, everything you need. Then you move on to the acceleration phase. This is where all the action happens in a 3-day EBA party or a series of parties. This is where all of your teams are going to come together to build new features, to build end-to-end solutions, to migrate, to modernize, and innovate. And your teams will start developing a new, agile, cross-functional way of working, which will be the foundation for your cloud-fluent culture. And what we're going to do is take all the learnings from this EBA and all the subsequent EBAs and apply them to your overarching cloud strategy so you can continue to drive the momentum and scale and transform your business at scale. And don't forget to make this experience fun and memorable for the participants. That's why it's meant to be a party. EBA helps building a cloud-fluent culture. You are a leader. That's why you are in this room today. In the EBA, leadership engagement is a core pillar of how we approach. Leaders are heavily involved in shaping and communicating the vision and strategy of the cloud program, which creates a unified vision for the teams and helps eliminate silos. It's important to have top-down goals about your cloud program, and it's also important to socialize and communicate these constantly with the teams. In an EBA, leadership engagement is immersive. Leaders are present in the command center, blocking and tackling issues in real time, along with their teams. This gives them meaningful insights that can inform the overall cloud strategy. Here are some of the attributes of a cloud-fluent team that we are trying to build through this process. It's very important to have an experimentation mindset and empowering your teams to innovate and fail fast. We have this concept of fail fast at Amazon, which means innovate and build new things. If it works, awesome. If it doesn't work, take the learnings and build better solutions. One of the key pillars of our EBA is the empowered teams. The teams are empowered to make bold and disruptive decisions. They are empowered to challenge the status quo and processes so that we can attain more and more efficiency along the way. A results-oriented team can take an idea from concept to successful implementation. And in an EBA, we're actually building these solutions. It's not a planning activity. On the third day, we showcase all the work we have done, and we celebrate successes together as a team, which creates change agents within your org. And these change agents are so important because they're going to help scale through others, and they will become a force multiplier for cloud adoption within your organization. As you're going through this process, it's important to have some lighthouse wins and focus on important and high-impact projects, even if they're smaller in scale. It's important to prioritize and scope for your EBA. That goes a long way. So if you're doing a migration party, pick your applications that represent different migration patterns, whether it's lift and shift or containerize or modernize. That way, you're going to learn more and apply those learnings to your overall cloud strategy. Use metrics to measure the key outcomes in the process and take the time to socialize these outcomes with the broader teams to continue to drive that momentum. And a little celebration and rah-rah always goes a long way, doesn't it? Hundreds of customers around the globe have leveraged this methodology to power their cloud journey. SAP Concur, a travel and expense management company, had a large-scale migration that stalled because of people and process challenges. And during an EBA, they were able to jumpstart their entire migration, and the cross-functional teams migrated 19 applications to AWS, most of them to production. They completed over 400 migration tasks and removed over 60 critical blockers. And some of these blockers were open for almost 6 months. SAP operationalized EBA as their new way of working and basically migrated their entire platform to the cloud, which is almost 300 apps in 2.5 months. They spoke at one of the previous reInvents, and their customer executive sponsor said, with EBAs, our teams did more in 3 days than in the prior 3 months. That's powerful. It demonstrated the power of AWS to us. Amdocs, a leading solutions and technology provider for media and telecom companies, leveraged EBA to modernize their business. And in a 3-day EBA, cross-functional teams built 5 new modules and launched 10 new features for their customers. These things take time, and all of this was done so quickly. And that's not it. They actually completed the end-to-end modernization of 3 complex applications, and all of this was achieved in just 3 days. They published their learnings via a case study with us. And the executive sponsor said the EBA event completely changed how we worked. And that is exactly the kind of feedback we want to hear from our customers as we are helping them transform their businesses. So, are you ready for your cloud party? Are you ready to build new solutions, migrate, modernize while making it fun and exciting? Choose a theme. Whether it's Star Wars or rock and roll or beach theme or fun hats, whether you choose an in-person, virtual, or hybrid model, our experts will help you get to the finish line and build a strong foundation for a cloud-fluent culture that will catapult your cloud journey to the next level. Okay, so you ready to party with us? Cool. So with that, I am honored to invite the star of the show, my customer, Tasha Bain, Vice President of Cloud Infrastructure and Platform at Aflac, to join us on stage and share with us the story of how Aflac built a cloud-fluent culture with EBA. Over to you, Tasha.
Thank you, Manu, for that lovely introduction. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. Who all went to replay last night? Okay, I'm going to try to keep the energy up because you're probably going on a little sleep, right? Thank you so much for being here today. I'm very excited about sharing the Aflac story of how we're migrating to the cloud and our experience with EBAs. My hope for each of you is that you leave today with at least one thing that can help you on your journey. And if not, you at least know you're not alone when you hit roadblocks or speed bumps on the way. Aflac. I've been with Aflac for 23 years. And if I remember correctly, that's longer than AWS has been a thing, right? But I'm not going to dwell on that because it makes me feel old. So let me tell you a little bit about Aflac. We are a family-first, family-focused company focused on health and well-being that over the years has grown into a Fortune 500 company with a global footprint. Since our founding in 1955, 131 plus billion in total assets, 19 plus billion in global revenues. We are America's leading provider of supplemental health insurance. And thanks to our 12,000 employees that are spread across the US, Japan, and Northern Ireland, we are able to be the policy provider that covers millions of people around the world. So now that you know a little bit about Aflac's history, I want to share a video with you today. This is the best way for you to know what we do and how we impact our policyholders. Can we roll the video, please?
Having Aflac has helped make things easier by just really giving us the opportunity to make sure that we're doing what's best for Easton. So I always knew I wanted to be a mom, and it's something you always think about. And then I got to be a mom. Easton was born not breathing, and he was blue. When he wasn't crying, you can just feel that pit in your stomach because you know something's not right. I didn't get to hold him until he was 2 weeks old. And then at 6 months old, we went in for a routine check. Easton had tumors throughout his whole abdomen and chest, and he had stage 4 cancer. No, you don't hear anything else after that. You've already gone through what feels like the worst thing in your life. You didn't think it was gonna get worse, and then it did. Having Aflac support financially has been a huge weight. lifted for us. I used the money from Aflac to help with, paying our mortgage and our car payment, just the things that we needed to keep the lights on. Without their help, I wouldn't have been able to drop everything and be with him. I, wouldn't have been able to take care of him the way I wanted to. He can live with these tumors as long as they don't grow. So we've checked on them every 3 months. We've done scans and they've remained stable, and some have even shrank. We don't have to worry about, hey, we can't bring him to this appointment, or we can't go see this doctor, or we can't get him the best help because, we're tied back. When he was born, I felt really helpless and that I couldn't help him, and I feel like Aflac's given me that opportunity to take back motherhood.
Man, these testimonials get me every time, and I've seen many of them. This is why it's important in Aflac Digital Services that we have a full understanding of who is using our platform. Did that person that came to myaflac.com to file their first claim, did they just have a serious accident, or someone they loved did? Was it this mother filing a claim for her son's cancer? Stability, ease of use, customer experience. We don't want to make their life harder. We promised we would be there in their time of need, and so everything that we build, everything that we do, we have to keep that in mind. This is why I come to work every day. So, now that you know more about who we are as a company and what we do, let's talk about why we decided to make the big shift from on-prem data centers to AWS cloud. That is not a decision that you make lightly. That's a major commitment for any organization, regardless of size. So some of our reasonings behind it: business resiliency and scalability, achieve cost efficiency, improve our security posture, it's a platform for innovation and experimentation, and reduce time to market. Now, I want you to remember reduce time to market. And as I talk about some of our EBAs today, you'll notice a theme. Now that we have the big picture as to why we're moving and why we're pursuing cloud transformation, let's talk a little bit about what Aflac is moving to the cloud. Here's a breakdown of our applications, tools, databases, data marts. As part of our operating systems, they're a mixture, but really primarily it's Windows and Linux, and our workloads are spread across distributed servers and mainframes. As part of our preparation to migrate, we broke down our portfolio into categories, and you can see all of them on the screen right now. Every item in a category followed a recommended migration pattern. For example, our big rocks. These are mission-critical applications that have a high impact to our customers. These will follow a pattern of re-architecting or re-platforming to actually transform these applications. Whereas data marts may just be a re-platform lift and shift, so to speak, if not being replaced by cloud-native technology. At the bottom of the screen, this is the one point that I want you to remember. If you remember one thing on this slide, and Manu touched on it earlier, this is not just a technology play where you're lifting technology from one environment to another. Do not forget about your people, okay? This is not something that you do to them. This is something they are a part of. This is something that you do with them. Aflac has about 600 full-time employees in digital services, with roughly 200 or so in engineering and dev roles. Every single one of our employees is going to need some level of cloud training as we transform. Also, it's not just about the upskilling. Organizational change can be a major impact to your migration and the overall success. You are not just pointing your teams to the cloud and saying, go figure it out, right? Make no mistake, you are changing the way they work. And it's important to help manage them and guide them through that change. You are changing the way they work, and you are changing how they engage other teams. So now that we've walked through the why and the what, let's talk about the when. Our journey began in 2019 when we opened our first AWS account. In 2020, we migrated our first major business unit. And then in 2022, we got really busy. We had the prioritization and activation phase kick off. We ultimately did 8 EBAs in that year. One of those was our biggest and most critical workloads, our enrollment benefit solution. And I'm going to talk about that EBA in a minute. And that was a true test. That was a true test for the Aflac team, and it was a true test for AWS. Moving into this year, we are moving our cloud adoption by establishing a migration factory model. And we took our EBA activities global. And we did a modernization EBA building out new capabilities in our office in Northern Ireland. Looking ahead to next year, we are adopting our cloud strategy to a shifting landscape and shifting priorities, and that's going to be normal for you in your migration. Prioritization in those conversations will happen. Funding conversations will happen. You have to adapt, but you always must keep your migration prioritized. Even if you have to slow down, just don't stop. Right? In the future, we will also be expanding our cloud program to address our workloads on the mainframe, and we will continue to work to transform at scale. I would love to tell you that this slide is blank, that we had no challenges. But you and I both know I'd be lying. So the journey to the cloud has not been without its challenges, and we have faced most of the industry standard challenges. As Manu highlighted earlier, 70% of your friction points are not even going to be technology related. It's going to be people, processes, siloed ways of working. And Aflac has run into all of these. I can attest to that statistic. That is absolutely true. Some of the challenges that we faced were getting widespread support for the migration itself. And it's not necessarily because people didn't believe in it. It was because everyone has their own priorities. Everyone has a job to do, and they're all trying to do it at the same time. Earlier in my news conversation or presentation, she talked about prioritization and top-level leadership support. Those are key and will continue to be key throughout the life cycle of your migration. Getting team members engaged to take advantage of upskilling opportunities, not because they didn't want to learn. What technologist do you know that doesn't want to learn new technology? Everyone's hungry to learn. But again, prioritization for that team and the work that they're on. What are we incentivizing them to work on? Is it being a feature factory, or is it learning and upskilling so that they can be ready for the next technology? Navigating some of the outdated processes, siloed ways of working. Manu mentioned tickets and SLAs, and I felt like I was sitting back at headquarters in Columbus, Georgia. They serve a purpose in a certain operating model. And on the day-to-day, I get it. When you're talking about mass migration, large-scale migrations, you're talking about an EBA where you're trying to do more in 3 days than you've done in 3 months. Those processes are not conducive to that at all. One quick little story. I didn't know if I was going to tell you this. So when we did our first EBA, I had a cross-functional team in there and a manager from another area. I'm not going to name it, but another area was in there. And for the first hour, all I heard from him was, "This isn't how we do this. This isn't how we do this. I need you to open a ticket." And I'm like, "And you'll get it done in a week?" "No, AWS will be gone in a week." Right? So it was a shock to his system that I needed him to sit in that room with us and do the work right then when I asked for it, not based on a ticket. Getting prioritization from our leaders and the business partners, that's another issue that you have to work through. Because again, it's all about prioritization and support. We had a big challenge for our cloud program when one of our key leaders and the biggest cloud sponsor and supporter that we have left the company. and someone new moved into that CIO role. Excuse me. And you know that when that happens, typically there's changes in leadership, there's changes in priority. You have to kind of stop and make sure everybody's on the same page. When our new CIO moved into her role, we had to take time to really understand her vision for digital services, her vision for cloud migration, and then not just understand her vision, but understand how we could be an enablement engine. How could we help support her vision? We're not an expense for her as a cloud migration. We are an enabler for her vision. And I'm happy to say that if it's true that all you need is leadership support for a successful migration, I have nothing to worry about. Our CIO is very, very supportive. She takes time to listen to us. She believes in it. And I'm not just saying that because she's probably watching online back home. So, but it's true. It's true. So I don't have anything to worry in that respect. So these are some of the challenges that we worked through at Aflac. And one of the most helpful tools that ended up being in our toolbox was the methodology of the EBA that AWS helped us learn. Because again, it's about people and processes. We didn't have problems with technology. Okay, so this slide, if you look really closely on the bottom row, you might see a familiar face. This one right here. I had the absolute pleasure I was in a different role at the time, of being on the first team to do an EBA at Aflac. And you can tell we're all virtual. We did it before we went back to work or back to the building. But I do have a confession to make, and I haven't told my AWS partners this yet, so hot off the presses. So I was the executive sponsor. They let me stay very much involved. They didn't let me do, fingers on keyboards because that would have just been ugly for everybody. But I was in all the sessions and working through, but I missed the session where we landed on a theme, okay? I missed the session where we landed on a theme, and I missed the session where they said, we're gonna mail you your stuff. So our theme was solid as a rock. Think 80s hair bands, Slash from Guns N' Roses, and blow-up guitars and things like that, right? So I missed that. So I'm at home one night, Amazon box gets delivered, which is not unusual. And if you ask my husband, he'd say it happens way too often. So I open the box, and there's this gnarly black wig in there and a guitar, blow-up guitar and stuff. And I don't know what, I think I'm getting pranked. I look at the address, did it come to the wrong place? And I threw it away. I threw it away. I did not realize what it was until this picture was taken, and I pulled up into the EBA and you can see some of the wigs and stuff, and I felt like an idiot, so I didn't say anything. So that was my confession to my AWS partners today. So for the first EBA, we did start simple. But we chose 2 applications, kind of small, medium size, and we had a different approach for each. One was a lift and shift, and one was a modernization. One thing we noticed right off the bat was this methodology allowed us to do a migration and deliver. We took months off of our timeline. Remember on that earlier slide, I told you, remember time to market as I talk about the EBAs. You're going to notice a theme. We took months off of our migration timeline. With everyone in the room, you have rapid resolutions of blockers. The accelerating of standard processes, and notice, I say accelerating of standard processes and not bypassing standard processes. In a heavily regulated environment such as we are at Aflac, there are some processes that I cannot bypass. So my intent is to have those folks in the room and work through that process as quickly as possible. So I don't want anyone to leave today and say Tasha Bain from Aflac said I could bypass all my processes and get in trouble with the regulators or anything. So ultimately, our biggest takeaway from this first EBA was that getting our teams outside of their normal ways of working, getting them dressed in silly costumes and wigs and just having fun with it, empowering them to make these decisions, encouraging them to experiment and fail fast, it opened up all sorts of doors for us. We started looking at problems differently. We started approaching solutions differently. We started working together, building relationships that carried on past the EBA. Spurred on by the success of this first EBA, we kind of got the attitude of go big or go home. We decided to apply this methodology with one of our biggest and most important workloads at Aflac, our benefits enrollment platform. This is the center of our business, and by some members of leadership, it has been called the cash register of our company. Because why not? We were so successful with the WIGs. Let's move on to the next one. And this platform is called Everwell. And that's what we're going to talk about next. And just, if you haven't figured it out by now, Everwell is a very much mission-critical application for Aflac. One number I want to point out on this slide before I go into the details of it. We moved over 500 databases in a matter of days. That's insane. Over 500 databases. We have over 75,000 agents using this platform to enroll customers. And again, it's the cash register of the company, so you can imagine that this was high visibility with our leadership. Zero room for errors. And as if this wasn't enough of a thrill, we decided to give this very risky initiative a very short, aggressive timeline. Because why not, right? At the beginning of 2022, we made a commitment to our leadership that we would be live in AWS by August and have zero issues that would impact our agents for September Power Weeks. Power Weeks is peak enrollment times for Aflac. You really do not do anything that stops an enrollment during Power Weeks. We promised that our users would feel absolutely no impact from the migration to the cloud. And with the help of our partners at AWS, the unwavering commitment of the digital services team in Charlotte, and using the methodology of the EBA, not only did we delivered on time, and we delivered with zero significant issues that impacted our agents during Power Weeks. And this was not just a lift and shift. We really modernized this application. We're not done yet. I don't want to give that impression that we're 100% where we need to be, right? But this was a step in the right direction. DevOps pipelines, using 20 new AWS services, modernizing, increasing automation for a smoother end-user experience. What we did for Everwell stabilized that platform, and it positioned us to support peak load and scale with that. It improved our customer experience and retention, and it put us in a better position to compete in the marketplace. Just to kind of put it in layman's terms, so the agents, before we migrated to AWS, Everwell had issues, right? And the agents hated Everwell. They would make up terrible names that I'm not going to repeat in here and post it on Facebook. I mean, horrible names about this application. Our E-scores, our satisfaction scores, were just as low as they can get. Now, not too long ago, we have gotten the highest E-scores that team has gotten, the highest satisfaction scores, and they're continuing to climb. Now I heard an agent make a comment the other day saying, you don't need to worry about Everwell, it's fine, can you go over here and fix this system instead? Okay? And I'm not going to say it was only the move to AWS, because we're continuing to refine and modernize that application, but that was absolutely the first step, and we would not be where we are right now without that step. To give you another example of how Aflac has used the EBA methodology, like I mentioned earlier, we went global. Our team members in Northern Ireland, they built something brand new. And so up until this point, Aflac had done migrations and modernizations, but they were all on existing platforms, existing applications. This was the first time that we had built something new. One thing that I found interesting about this migration is that it was reported to me 42% of the developers in this EBA had no experience with event-driven architecture projects beforehand. But because of the EBA structure, and you're all in the room together and you're working together, you're empowered, you're collaborating, they were able to learn from the more experienced team members. And then together, ultimately, they delivered a product that reduced time it took to update records from up to 48 hours to seconds. So think about that. In some cases, it took us 2 days. How many of you have a mainframe with batch processing? So in that situation, depending on timing, it could take up to 2 days for an update to happen. So this event-driven architecture EBA, it decoupled us from the legacy dependency, and we went from 48 hours to seconds. These are just a couple of EBA events that we've had this year, but all told, we've completed about a dozen. I think we have the 13th one scheduled right now with our data team. EBA events at Aflac have helped us accelerate our cloud migration. And unfortunately, I just have time to talk about those 3 today, but this is just kind of a review of all the EBAs that we've done. Part of what has made the EBA event successful at Aflac is the people-first approach. These are not your old school mentor workshops or hackathons, although hackathons can still be cool. But they're engaging, they're meant to be fun, it's collaborative. This is not like anything you've ever experienced. Every EBA event at Aflac has had a different theme. As you can see, Solid Rock, that was mine that I threw away, sorry guys. Back to school, Star Wars, we had someone wearing a full-blown Darth Vader costume at one point. Mastering the Cloud, so had some golf lovers on one. And this has brought a lot of life and personality to the EBAs. And I gotta tell you, as a leader who doesn't necessarily get to interact with every single person on the team every single day, watching the personalities and the sense of humor come out in this room as part of the EBA, it's fun. It's fun, and you see people who maybe in a more formal setting, maybe they don't speak up as much, right? But then you get in this room and everyone's relaxed and you've got a mullet wig on or you're wearing like a Yoda costume or something like that. Everyone gets relaxed, and you would be amazed at how people that typically do not contribute their ideas in a group setting, all of a sudden they're contributing. It is amazing to see people come out of their shell. Another aspect that really helped us with the EBA methodology is it's a hands-on learning approach. It enables our team members to experiment and apply those learnings real-time to real-world problems. These events are very outcome-focused, though. Okay, don't get me wrong. It's not all about dressing up like Darth Vader and wearing a mullet wig or whatever cool costume you have. We use these opportunities to drive results very quickly. And more importantly, we celebrate those results. That's where the cowbell comes in. That's where the parties come in. You celebrate it. So a few of our outcomes so far to date, we've had 70 plus participants throughout. We've had 12 events. We've had 12 EBA parties, 167 plus migration celebrations, which, just so you know, that means this right here. We involved 16 teams were involved. We had 14 applications migrated and modernized. We had over 17 process improvements and over 100 critical blockers removed. What you don't see on this slide is the culture transformation that is happening. With every EBA that you do, there's a slight shift to that culture. That's why it's important to not be one and done, to continue to do them as often as you can. How did we scale this methodology? From the 12 EBAs that we completed over the course of the past 2 years, We have begun to apply some of these learnings to our everyday working. To become even more agile after experiencing how effective they can be, we scaled up the use of cross-functional teams that are dedicated to the migration. Another big way our experience with EBAs has impacted our way of working at Aflac is adopting the practice of having daily migration breakouts so that we're all on the same page, so that we have real-time, fast resolution of blockers. And as we continue to scale up and use these key attributes, we really are excited about using this at Aflac in a sustainable way, and we fully expect to have continued success. Future of cloud at Aflac. As we look to the future of Aflac's cloud journey, we plan to internalize and learn from the things we've learned from the EBA. Leveraging the domain knowledge that we can grow and retain internally, we plan to create self-propelled teams. These self-propelled teams will assist the development teams to accelerate their migration to the cloud. We're going to continue to grow and upskill our talent with a customized learning and development plan. We're going to focus on reducing total cost of ownership, de-risking our ecosystem, and eventually do full digital transformation at Aflac. But we do have some short-term steps that we can do along the way, right? We're going to modernize some key business applications by going serverless. We're going to utilize AI ML on our customer service and experiences and products. And we're going to increase automation that we can utilize more cloud-native technologies as we move forward. So building a cloud-fluent culture. I mentioned earlier that it's something you have to do consistently, because with every EBA, the culture changes just a little bit. Growing our internal cloud maturity and enhancing our team members' skill sets through customized learning and development opportunities, that's going to continue to be a key enabler to our migration. Establishing a cloud business office, redefining our operating model, those are going to be critical steps towards reinforcing a culture of experimentation and innovation that we want to cultivate with our migration. Remember earlier I talked about you're changing the way they work. If you do not have a culture of experimentation and innovation, now's the time to do it. You're going to have that organizational change happening anyway. And you heard it again and again in the conference, and I'm going to repeat it one more time. All the tools are here. It takes leadership approval, it takes our support, it takes prioritization, but all the tools are here with the EBA methodology. It takes us to put them into place. So hang with me another minute or two, and then I'll be done talking. But before I hand it back over to Manu, I just want to summarize some key learnings. EBAs, at least for Aflac, have allowed us to see the art of the possible. We found that a culture of continuous learning and building cloud fluency is paramount. Creating cross-functional teams to break down silos in our organization. As mentioned earlier, the majority of the challenges that we've faced are not related to technical. It's people and processes. Finally, the last big benefit of EBAs, and I'll leave you with this, is they are fun. Getting together with people that you normally only see if you open a ticket or you see them on the computer screen, getting everyone in a room dressed like Darth Vader, having a party, ringing cowbells, working all towards a common goal, that's a perfect way to build a culture of experimentation, trust, and innovation. So to close out, I'm going to leave you with this quote from one of our key leaders, Tyler Bennett. And he's also the leader over Everwell, so he has some experience with EBAs. But one sentence on here that I want to draw your attention to: it is remarkable to achieve results in hours and days that may have normally required weeks. Remember, one of my first slides, it was about time to market. And I said, pay attention because there'll be a theme. And there is, right? Time to market, days down from weeks. Thank you so much for listening to me today. Manu?
Wow, thank you, Tasha. What an incredible story. Personally, for me, the most exciting part and inspiration in this story is when Aflac decided to take their mission-critical app, the heartbeat of the business, Everwell, to AWS in 3 days in a migration party. That's exactly the kind of bold decisions and goals that we love our customers to achieve through our methodology. Kudos to your leadership and your teams. I know some of them are here in the crowd for achieving this success. It's incredible. Thank you. So working with hundreds of enterprises around the globe, these are some of the essentials for accelerating cloud value. Executive sponsorship is a must. I cannot emphasize enough on how important it is to have stakeholder alignment on those objectives so that all your cross-functional teams are working towards those goals. There needs to be willingness to break the silos and infuse a new cross-functional agile way of working to build towards that culture. You need to empower your teams to make two-way door decisions. This is a concept we use at Amazon all the time. If a decision can be reversed, it's a two-way door decision. You want to make these decisions quickly so you attain velocity and don't slow down. And that's exactly what you want to do. You want to stay laser-focused on outcomes and have an outcome-focused strategy throughout the process and continue to build and invest in those change agents. And all of this can be achieved by learning, by experience, by taking those learning and integrating them into your overall process and continue to build that scalability. All right. Now I guess some of you are thinking like, okay, this is all great. I think I'm ready to party. Maybe some of you have already picked a theme, which is awesome. We are ready to party here. How do we get started? If you are thinking about adopting this methodology in your organization, start by reaching out to your AWS account team. They will involve us and our EBA experts who are spread all over the world to help your EBA journey be successful. And once you embark on that journey, define those business outcomes and timeline, start working towards that, align all the right stakeholders on those objectives. It's very important to have all the right people in the room when you're going through this process in order to achieve these results and be successful. So get the sponsorship commitment so that you have all the right people there. And once you're ready, plan and organize your EBA to start that journey. And you are not alone here. This is where our EBA experts will help you in every step of the way for you to be successful on your cloud journey. And throughout your transformation journey, continue to learn more and iterate more, have an experimentation mindset to establish a new working model, rinse and repeat, and get better and attain efficiency so you can continue to build towards that cloud-fluent culture and you become the modern business that you're trying to build. Okay, so with that, are you guys ready to party with us? All right, thank you so much. Thank you for being here today. It was an honor and pleasure sharing this incredible Aflac story with you today. Please take a moment to submit the survey in the app. And Tasha and I are going to be at the back here if you have any questions for us. And really hoping to see you all in an EBA party soon enough. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much, guys.